Hi, I'm Annie. Today I want to talk about using objective personality typing in coaching. If you'd like to schedule a one-on-one video chat session with me, you can find a link to do so in the description. So over the last year and in the last couple months, I've had a lot more experience in coaching people. This is something that sort of just fell into my lap in 2020, that I had an opportunity to coach a few people. And now I'm actually focused on intentionally studying and cultivating those coaching skills. So I've had a lot of recent experience, a lot of video chat sessions with people, and getting more and more familiar with the coaching process. So in a typical call, there's usually an objective. What does the client want to achieve from that session? And a lot of times it'll be something like, they want to come away with a plan. They would like to have some clarity and create a plan for moving forward in whatever topic they're exploring for that day. And then what it feels like on my end is sort of facilitated introspection. So I'm listening to their issue, what they want to achieve, what they're telling me is standing in the way, what kind of blocks come up. And I'm sort of listening in an intuitive way and listening between the lines, and then asking questions that help explore deeper, explore solutions or understand the block, to basically just facilitate clarity around the issue so that solutions are more noticeable and maybe some kind of plan emerges. I'm specifically trying not to give my opinion or say what I would do in that situation, or, just hand someone a game plan. It's more like listening and questioning and allowing them to come up with the insight and come up with the plans on their own, because you have all the answers inside of you. You know yourself better than anyone else, and inside of yourself, you know the best solution. It just isn't always super visible. And so going through this process of guided introspection just kind of like sifts through and brings a whole bunch of things to light. And it's really just a magical process. It really surprises me that the coaching call, starts at one point and I never really know where it's going to go. But then by the end, it's like, wow, look at all these insights that happened during this call, and look at all the solutions that came out of this brainstorming. It just really amazes me. I never know where it's going to go, but it's just sort of being introspective and asking questions that sort of look at the issue from a whole bunch of different angles, and maybe, bring some stuff that's maybe in the dark up into the light to look at. Yeah, it's really just a wonderful process. Something that I've noticed in my coaching interactions is how much I do actually use objective personality. I've found it to be just surprisingly useful, and it was never my objective to use it in any way. It just kind of happens. And so here's an example of what I mean. So let me preface this by saying that I'm not even good at typing. Like, I'm not good at really figuring out, in a granular way someone's type, but I do pick up on things. So I might notice something like, this is DE. I can see DE, DI, or I can see observer, decider. And then sometimes like the most dominant function is kind of obvious, because I'll think like, oh, this is FI language. So I really feel like FI is dominant here. And so here's how this is useful in coaching. I'll give you an example. If I'm talking to someone that is TE dominant, like they're likely lead TE, they're using a lot of TE language, and we're trying to see their issue from different perspectives and look at what the blocks are and look at possible solutions. Sometimes if that TE dominant person is really leaning on TE and they're just sort of all in on that's the main function that they're using, then you're exploring all these different options and trying to brainstorm, but you just get kind of stuck because you're just using that one function. And it's my job to know when to challenge and when to push. And I want to do that in like a really open, curious, gentle kind of way. It's not like an aggressive pushing. But if someone is all in on TE and TE language, and we're just kind of like going over the same solutions, hitting up against the same blocks over and over again, that's a clue to me that potentially potentially the answer or some small epiphany might lie in the underused FI. If there's a lot of awareness with TE, but there's not as much awareness with FI or not as much comfort, then when I'm asking my powerful questions to kind of move the conversation into new territory, then what I can do is question the FI. But if I'm asking these open-ended questions and over again TE is answering and we're just kind of stuck and we're not getting anywhere, then I will ask a question directly to the FI. It could be a little bit destabilizing to the person. You know, maybe they don't want to talk about their FI. You know, that's not something they want to share at all. But it's a valuable place to go because sometimes it's in that slight discomfort or that destabilization that different solutions might observe, or we might discover more about whatever the block is that's keeping them from, you know, accomplishing the thing that they're trying to accomplish. I don't ever set out in any way to use objective personality in coaching because I feel like I'm not really good at typing, you know? I wish that I could, you know, type people pretty accurately and use that information to help them. That would be cool. But I'm just not that good at it. And honestly, I haven't applied myself. You know, I do consume the objective personality class and I love the growth mindset stuff. And I love talking about if you have a dominant function, how can you leverage, you know, the other part of it for growth? Like, you know, if you're lead in E, how do you improve your SI or leverage SI to accomplish your goals? So I'm not specifically trying to type my clients as I'm talking with them, but it just kind of happens. Things jump out. I think this person is all DEs. So how would exploring the DI sort of further the conversation or kind of, you know, broaden the scope of the exploration with this client? I think that's really interesting that it just pops up. I've been studying objective personality pretty casually for a couple years now, and I just start to notice coins here and there, and it is useful. And I think that the most useful thing about it is knowing what coin you're seeing and then thinking about how you can leverage the opposite side. So yeah, I don't know, just something cool I noticed in my coaching practice. So that's what's been on my mind this week. I hope everyone's doing well. Let me know what you think.